Okay, today we're going to look at section 6.7, investments. You can save your money in a safe or a vault, or worse, under the mattress, but the money does not grow. It'd be hard to save enough for retirement that way. What can be done to increase the value of the money you already have? The answer is to invest it. Use the money that you have to earn more money back. For instance, as we saw in the method of savings, we can save it in a bank, or to reach loftier goals, invest it in something more likely to grow, such as stock. So bonds, stocks, and mutual funds tend to offer higher returns, but to varying degrees come with higher risk. Stocks and mutual funds are also vary in how much they earn. Their predicted rates of return on investment are not guaranteed, but educated guesses based on market trends and historical performances. Now, bonds are issued from big companies and from governments. Selling bonds is an alternative to an institution taking a loan from a bank. The funds from the selling of bonds are often used for large projects like funding the building of a new highway or hospital. Bonds are considered a conservative investment. They are bought for what is known as the issue price. The interest is fixed at the time of the purchase and is based on the issue price of the bond. The interest rate is often referred to as the coupon rate. The interest paid is often called the coupon yield. The interest paid is often higher than savings account, and the risk is exceptionally low. The bond is for a fixed length of time. The end of this time is the maturity date of the bond. There are several types of bonds. There's treasury bonds are issued by federal government. Municipal bonds are issued by state and local governments, and corporate bonds are issued by major corporations. So Maureen invests $5,000 in a bond with a maturity date in 5 years at a fixed coupon rate of 4.75%. How much is Maureen paid each year, and how much does she receive on the maturity date? So each year she earns the interest, which is 5,000 5,000 times the interest rate, 0.0475, which is $237.50 each year. That's how much she makes. That's what she receives each year. Then on the maturity date, she's going to receive this plus her original $5,000 investment. Yeah, 237.50. So at maturity date, she's going to receive $5,237.50. Stocks are part ownership in a company. They come in units called shares. The performance and earnings of stocks is not guaranteed, which makes them riskier than any other investment discussed earlier. However, they can offer higher return on investment than the other investments. Their value grows in two ways. They offer dividends, which is a portion of the profit made by the company, and the price per share can increase based on how others see the value of the company changing. The value of the company drops or the company folds, the money invested in the stock also drops. Most stock transactions are executed through a broker. Brokers' commissions can be a percentage of the value of the trade made or a flat fee. There are full-service brokers who charge higher commission rates, but they also offer financial advice and perform the research that you may not have the time or the expertise to do on your own. A discount broker only executes the stock's transaction, buying or selling, so they charge lower rates than the full-service brokers. There are also brokers that offer commission. An important thing to remember is that stocks might provide a very large return on investment, but the trade-off is the risk associated with owning stock. So Rixie deposits $23,000 in the stock of the DEF company. She assumes the stock value to grow through stock price increase and reinvestment of dividends by 13.8% compounded annually. How much will her stock be worth in 12 years? Well, this is our standard compound interest problem. The amount equals the principal times 1 plus R times the number of compounding periods to the number of compounding periods per year times T. Well, N is simply 1 here since it's compounded annually. So we end up with 23,000 times 1 plus 0.138 to the 12th power, which is 23,000 times 1.138 to the 12th power, which comes out to be $108,501.31. That's a pretty good deal. So, reading stock tables. Information about particular stocks is contained in stock tables. This information includes how much the stock is selling for and its high and low values from the past year, 52 weeks. In a newspaper, the stock table may look like this. So as you see, we have a 52-week high. We have the stock name. We have the symbol. Have any dividends, a yield percentage, and so forth. And here we go. The symbol is the name of the company. The annual dividend is the current annual dividend per share. The percent yield is the annual dividend divided by share price times 100. The PE is the price to earnings ratio. Share price divided by earnings per share over past year. DD indicates loss. Volume in hundreds, the number of shares traded yesterday in hundreds. So if 500 shares were traded yesterday, it would be 5. High and low, the highest and low prices. Close, the price at which the stock traded at the close of the market yesterday. Net change is the change in price from market close 2 days ago to yesterday's close. The formulas for the yield and price to earning is a good way to measure how much the stock returns per share. Their values are calculated in the stock table but deserve attention here. Price to earning of a stock is the share price divided by the dividend, and the yield percent is the annual dividend divided by the share price times 100. It should be noted that the price of stock increases and decreases every moment, and these values change as the price changes. So find the percent yield for a stock with a price of $37.40 and an annual dividend of $160. Now percent yield is dividend over share price times 100, which is 1.60 over 37.40 times 100. It comes out to be 4.27%. Find a percent yield for a stock with a price of $73.22 and an annual dividend of $2.41. Same process, dividend $2.41 over share price $73.22 times 100 gives us a percent yield of 3.29%. So we have a stock table here. You can see how it shows here how the price changed throughout the day. We have the previous day's close. Have the date here. Have what it opened at. The range. Have the PE. Have the dividend. Have the yield. And the 52-week range. So let's see what we got going on here. What is the current price for Intel Corp on this date? Looks like $30.67. What is the 52-week high and 52-week low? Well, there's the 52-week range. The high is 56.28 and the low is 30.05. So 56.28 and $30.05. When is the dividend expected? Okay, here we go. Expected dividend date. August 4, 2022. What is the yield? We found that earlier, didn't we? There's the yield, 4.77%. And what is the earnings per share? I think we found that. Earnings per share, $4.66. Yulia owns 300 shares of stock in XYZ Company. It pays $1.12 per share this quarter. How much did Yulia earn this quarter on the stock? Well, she had 300 shares and it paid $1.12 each. And that comes out to $336 even. Jenny buys 200 shares of stock in UUK Company for $9.76 per share. At the end of the year, she sells these stocks for $10.02. How much did Jenny make? Well, she bought 200 shares at $9.76. So that was $1,952 even. She sold 200 shares at $10.02. So that was $2,004. The difference being $52. What was her return on investment for that 1 year? Well, if you recall, return on investment is earnings over original price times 100. So she earned $52. The original price was $1,952 times 100% gives her an earnings of 2.66%. Okay, the next topic we look at is mutual funds. Mutual fund is a collection of investments that are all bundled together. When you buy shares of a mutual fund, your money is pooled with the assets of other investors. This pooled money is invested in stocks, bonds, money market instruments, and other assets. Mutual funds are typically operated by professional money managers who allocate the fund's assets and attempt to produce capital gains or income for the fund's investors. A key benefit of mutual funds is that they allow small or individual investors to invest in a professionally managed portfolios of equities, bonds, and other securities. This means each shareholder participates proportionally in the gains or losses of the fund. The performance of a mutual fund is usually stated as how much the mutual fund's total value has increased or decreased. Since there are many different investments inside the mutual fund, the risk is reduced significantly compared to direct ownership of stocks. Even so, mutual funds historically perform well and can earn more than 10% annually. Investments that make up a mutual fund are structured and maintained to match stated investment objectives, which are specified in its prospectus. Prospectus is a pamphlet or brochure that provides information about the mutual fund. Before buying shares of a mutual fund, consult its prospectus, consider its goals and strategies to see if they match your goals and values, and also research any associated fees. Aiden decides to invest $3,200 annually in a mutual fund. He expects the fund to have a 10.8% interest rate compounded annually. How much will Aiden's mutual fund account have after 15 years? This is as simple as the annuity. So future value is equal to the payment amount times 1 plus the interest rate over N to the NT minus 1 over RN. Now, a couple things that work out for us in this case. Now we know the payment is 3,200. We have 1 plus R, which is 0.108, but N is 1. So this is 1 times 15 minus 1, and this is simply 0.108 over 1, so 0.108. So we have 3,200 times 1.108 to the 15th power minus 1, and that is that, and this is over 1.108, which gives us 3,200 times 3.657 over 0.108, which gives us a final amount, $108,355.56. Okay, so how much does Aiden need to invest annually in his mutual fund to reach a goal of $1 million in 40 years? He expects the funds to have a 10.8% interest rate compounded annually. So now we're looking at the payment calculation, which is equal to the future value times the rate over the number of compounding periods in a year divided by 1 plus the rate over the number of compounding periods to the NT minus 1. So N is 1. Our future value is 1 million. R is 0.108. Then we have over 1 plus 1.108. So I'm just going to go 1.108. And this will be to the 40th power minus 1. So that gives us 108,000 divided by 59.48 gives us $1,815.74 annually. Okay, as in methods of savings, the formula for return on investment is return on investment equals the future value minus P over P. As indicated before, this formula does not take into account how long the investment took to reach its current value. It depends only on the initial value P and the value at the end of the investment FV. So marine invest $5,000 in a bond with a maturity date in 5 years at a fixed coupon rate of 4.75. What is Marine's return on investment? So if you recall from the first problem we did, it was $237.50 every year for 5 years. This gives us $1,187.50. If you recall, let's go back. How far up is this? Maybe I shouldn't have gone back because it was way up here at the beginning. Here it is. So she received $237.50 a year, and she received it for 5 years, which brings her to that, what was it, $1,187.50. So that's how much she earned. So return on investment is simply what she earned divided by what she paid. 1,187.50 divided by 5,000 times 100, and that gives me 23.75%. Okay, so we have a formula for annual return. Annual return is the future value divided by the initial value to the 1 over t, where t is the number of years, f is the new value, and p is the starting principal. So again, we have Marine here with a $5,000 bond, 5 years, 4.75 interest rate. So her future value relating to this is $6,187.50. What she earned plus the original investment. The principal was $5,000 and T is 5. So here I have my annual return equals FV over P to the 1 over T. So I have 6,187.5 over 5,000 to the 1/5. Yep, and I forgot there's a -1 here. So this turns out to be 1.2375 to the 1/5 minus 1, which in turn is 0.0435, which is 4.35%. $1.2375 to the open parentheses 1 divided by 5 power. Or if you know that 1 divided by 5 is 0.2, you can do it that way. So now we're back to Rixie again. He deposits her $23,000 in stock of the DEF company. After 12 years, her stock is worth $108,501.30. What is her return on investment? So recall, return on investment is FV minus P over P. So $108,501.30 minus 23,000 over 23,000. This equals $85,501.30 over 23,000, which is 3.717 or 371.7%. Her money almost quadrupled. What is Rixie's annual return? Now remember, annual return is equal to the future value over the principal to the 1 over the number of years minus 1. So I have the future value, $108,501.30 over 23,000 to the 1 over to the 1/12th power minus 1, which gives me 1.138 minus 1, which gives me 0.138 or 13.8%. Okay, now we're going to compute payments to reach a financial goal. Determine the payment necessary to reach a financial goal. Use the payment formula for an ordinary annuity. So a lot of this is just an ordinary annuity. If dealing with mutual funds or stocks, an assumed annual interest rate compounded will be used. This value is often determined through research and informed speculation. So rewriting our formula here, payment equals the future value times R over N over 1 plus R over N to the NT minus 1. So Pete and Aaron want to save for their child's college. They think they will need $90,000. So our future value is $90,000 in 14 years. How much should they invest annually in a mutual fund they believe will yield 9.5% interest compounded annually? So N is going to be 1. So I can simply change this to 0.095 over 1, but that's just the same. And this would be 1 plus 0.095. So I'm going to go ahead and do that addition as well. And then N times T, 1 times 14 is 14 minus 1. That gives me 8,550 over 2,000 or $2.56 or 2.56, which gives me an annual deposit of $3,320.31. And lastly, we look at retirement savings plans. There's 3 main forms of retirement savings account. Traditional individual retirement accounts, Roth IRAs, and 401k accounts. Each has distinct characteristics that are suited to different investors' needs. So a traditional IRA lets you contribute up to an amount set by the government, which may change from year to year. For example, the maximum contribution for 2022 is $6,000, $7,000 over age 50. Anyone is eligible to contribute to a traditional IRA, regardless of your income level. Your money grows tax deferred, but withdrawals after 59 and a half are taxed at current rates. Traditional IRAs also allow you to use the contribution itself as a deduction on your current year tax return. Roth IRAs allow contribution at the same levels as traditional IRAs, with a maximum of $6,000 for 2022 and $7,000 over age 50. However, to be eligible to make contributions, your earned income must be below a certain level. A Roth IRA allows after-tax contribution. In other words, the contribution itself is not tax deductible, as it is with the traditional IRA. However, your money grows tax-free. If you make no withdrawals until you are age 59 and a half, there are no penalties. IRAs pay a modest interest rate. In either case, IRA deposits have to be from earned income, which in effect means if your earned income is over 6,000 or 7,000 if you're over 50, then you can deposit the maximum. Which type of IRA, Roth or traditional, allow deposits before tax but have earnings that are taxed after age 59 and a half? That would be the traditional. It's the other way around for the Roth. And the third retirement account we talk about is 401k accounts. Your employer may offer a retirement account to you. These are often in the form of a 401k account. There are traditional and Roth 401k accounts which differ in how they are taxed, much as with other IRAs. The traditional 401k plans, the money is deposited before tax is assessed, which means you do not pay taxes on this money. However, that means when money is withdrawn, it is taxed. These accounts are similar to mutual funds in that the money is invested in a wide range of assets spreading the risk. One of the perks some employers offer is to match some amount of your contribution to your 401k. For instance, they may match your deposits up to 5% of your income. This is an instant 100% return on the money that was matched. Jameis signs up for his employer's base 401k. The employer matches any 401k contribution up to 7.5% of the employee's salary. Jameis' salary is $72,800. What is the most money that Jamie can deposit that will be fully matched by the company? Well, the company matches up to 7.5%. So the most amount would be 7.5% of his income, which would be 72,800 times 7.5% or 0.075, which would give us $5,460. So he can deposit that much into the account and it'll automatically be doubled by the company contribution. So how much total will be deposited into Jameis's account if he deposits the full? Well, there'll be the 5,460 he deposited plus the 5,460 matching funds, which gives us $10,920. How much return does Jameis earn if he deposits exactly 7.5% in her 401k? Well, it's a 100% return on the day of the deposit, or $5,460. Crystal begins depositing $450 per month from her paycheck each month in her employer-based 401k account. The employer matches 350 of each deposit. Crystal expects the return to average 9% per year compounded annually. How much will Crystal's account be worth if she's making these payments for 25 years? Let's see. She's putting in 450 and the company's adding 350 to that. So she's paying in 800 a month essentially for 25 years with a 9% interest. So the future value equals, well, 800 a month times 12 is 9,600. So she's paying in 9,600 a year. 1 plus 0.09 divided by 1 to the 1 times t, which is 25, minus 1 over r over n, which is 0.09. This will give us 9,600 times 7.623 over 0.09, which will give us $813,120. What will her account be worth without the matching funds? So that would be 450 times 12, which is 5,400 a year. So we'd end up with future value equals 5,400, and we can just straight to here, right? Times 7.623 over 0.09, and it's $457,380. So a little more than half, which makes sense because they're almost matching her dollar for dollar. So that finishes this section. See if the computer is going to cooperate today.